7 billion people out there taking action together. And there are other people that care about our planet and are taking change already part of within their lifestyle. And where it all starts, at least from what we studied, is awareness. First, you need to be aware that we're living through a climate crisis. You need to know that that crisis is inducted by us, but together we can have a massive impact, and together we can change things. We must know that, as I mentioned before, and I don't want to state the obvious always, we must change. At one point there will be a turning point that we'll have to change altogether. Unfortunately, though, we've built a society that is kind of rigged against sustainability and what we're trying to save. We've built a society so crazy that there's more value in a tree dead than alive. So there's more economical value in a tree while it's dead. And we value more, unfortunately, economically speaking, an elephant tusk rather than the elephant's well-being itself. And this is something that we built together. And this is something that generations built. And as long as we won't change how we perceive and what our values are, we can only live this place a worse place for future generations. So this is where we come in as a society, and this is where we must change. We live in this world as this planet has infinite resources, but this planet is finite. This planet has resources that we use, and we use more than one planet of resources a year for to sustain our lifestyles. And at one point, this really doesn't make sense. So as I mentioned, our actions count. What we're trying to do with the app that we built is to show you that your actions count and to show you the impact of your actions. And just to give you a little example, by taking a shorter shower, by taking a 5-minute shower over a 10-minute shower, you save up to 50 liters of water. To have a meatless meal, so to have a vegetable meal or a vegan meal over a meal that you have with beef, for example, you save up to 1,000 liters of water per meal. And if you think about this over the course of your life, our impact here could be, of course, will be massive. To give you 2 examples on how the system is rigged against sustainability and rigged against the planet, I want to bring to you 2 examples. There is a light bulb in a fireman area in California. So where they have all their there's a light bulb that is being switched on for 120 years. So for 120 years, the same light bulb is being switched on, and they never changed this. They never changed it. Edison created the light bulb in 1870, and the first light bulbs were created, and they lasted between 3,000 and 4,000 hours by light bulb. The first companies in the first 50 years that brought the light bulb publicly and they start selling the light bulbs, realized that by selling the light bulbs, they weren't running out enough and they weren't making enough business. So what they decided, and all the companies that were producing light bulbs decided to get together and reduce the quality of the light bulbs to half of their lifetime in order to sell more, and their sales went up. And this I think is the first example where we can understand that sometimes we privilege quantity over quality. So sometimes as a society, we build products that tend to not last just because we need to, of course, sell more over products that could last longer. And I think this is the first example that we can take from this story. Second, and this is I've been realizing for the last few months, is we extract oil to make single-use plastics every day. We use a bottle of plastic or a plastic fork. We use them for years. We use them once, and then we just throw them away. And to use resources that come from petrol, create plastic that will sit in nature for 200 years and will just sit there, and it might become microplastics if you're lucky, or you might have to burn that plastic in order to build, to create more energy. That just doesn't make sense. And what I've been realizing, and this is something really personal that I bring to you, is the big societies and the big organizations tend to push us to recycle. And you'll see very big campaigns out there asking us to recycle products. And the problem that I see by big corporations pushing us to recycle single-use plastic is that they're putting the responsibility on us. So you should recycle. You should buy the product, and then it's up to you to recycle these products. And this is where I think where we can have massive change. This is where we should understand that the system we live in, unfortunately, doesn't really help what we're trying to do, and is rigged against us, is valuing profit at any cost. And this is where we should take action, and in order to force companies to change. Because if we change first, companies will change, governments will change. And this is something that I want to bring to you at a very personal level, since it is something that I just found out myself. And from here, I would like to share my screen and show you who we are and what we do, because what we've realized so far is people want to take action against sustainability, but sometimes don't know where to start. And this is why we built this project. If anybody could just confirm that they can see my screen, which is...
Yes, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so said this, and sorry for the long story, but I wanted to set some premises. Knowing all about this and knowing how our actions are important, I would like to introduce you to what we're doing. I'm Alessandro with two other business partners, Marco and another Alessandro. We decided to build a project that could guide people living sustainably. But we've not always done this. We've come from the digital world, we come from the marketing world, and I come from the fashion world. Unfortunately, our work before over the last few years took us far away. We've traveled from to Shanghai, we traveled to Asia, we traveled to the US, and we were helping companies sell products online. So we were very good at selling, creating online businesses. We decided to work with some very big companies. We worked, for example, with the Tommy Hilfiger brand. We worked with some luxury companies. And the last company that we worked with was a fast fashion companies that used to sell t-shirt and leggings all over the world. This company engaged with us. They paid us a lot of money, and it took us first to Asia, then to the US, launching a B2C fast fashion e-commerce, and then fly all over the States in order to create more platforms and use gamification techniques in order to sell more products. This, though, came with a price. What happened is the more we dug into this company and the more we traveled with this company, we understood that there was something rotten behind the scenes. One day I traveled and went to visit one of the factories that was manufacturing t-shirts. And while I was visiting one of these factories, I saw a situation which was pretty a disaster. A disaster from the society point of view, and a disaster from the environmental point of view. People would work 12 to 14 hours a day, and the products that they were using, they were far from being sustainable. While I was going through one of these factories, um, I've asked the person that was guiding me which would be the color in season next year, because fashion is always a year ahead. So this year they're manufacturing products that will be sold next year. And in the fashion industry, you want to know what is your competitor selling and what colors they're picking. And while I was visiting, and this person was guiding me through the factory, I've asked this lady, say, hey, what is the next color in season next year? And she said, well, to know this, you need to go and look at the color of the river, since all of the factories would be selling product, will be throwing all their unused materials and colors into the river, so the river will turn the color that we were using. You can imagine the shock that I had at that point. At that point, I realized, and I was wearing one of those T-shirts at the time, that the products that I was buying here in Italy, for example, were made by somebody on the other side of the world, paid a few dollars a day, working 14 hours in very poor conditions, and then all of the excess materials were just being discarded into the river. That was the first time that I realized myself that my actions had an impact. That was the first time that I realized that something that I'm buying here or a service that I could use have an impact on people and planet. And I left that day with a huge dilemma. The dilemma was if I wanted to be a part of this world, if I wanted to be part of this problem, or if you wanted to try to solve this. Never to say I left that world, came back to Italy with my business partners. Then we said, okay, what are the problems and how can we solve the problems? Why aren't people seeing this? And what's wrong? How can we help people step by step into learning what living in balance with the planet and other people is? And we've learned that, as I mentioned before, there's a culture that doesn't really incentivize sustainability and actually incentivize an unsustainable way of living, as I just mentioned with you before earlier. We focus most of the times on quantity instead of quality. We see people on social media taking picture of with one T-shirt and then never use that T-shirt again. Just throw that out. Our planet is seriously in danger. We are emitting greenhouse gases and CO2 for any actions that we do. And people are aware that there is a problem, but they don't know where to start. People feel the need to take action, and also people don't see the impact of their action. So I don't know if I take a shorter shower, I don't know if I brush my teeth, how much water I'm using. And we felt the need of building a product that could help people into finding out and to learning what these problems are and how to fix them. So we flew to the Climate Week in New York in 2019 with a vision, trying to help people and companies understand what their impact was. And we stumbled upon some great people at the UN that opened their doors, and they said, you might have something here. We might like what you guys are doing. Why don't we go deeper and figure out how we can do something together? And this is where actually AWorld was born. We decided to get together, leave, as I mentioned, the fashion industry, and to build a product that could use similar features as gamification, but instead of selling products, we wanted to engage people into taking action and to learn more about sustainability. So we used all the experience we had over the last 10 years and built something that could aim to create culture of sustainability. And firstly, we built, of course, we're a little nerdy, so we built a platform that aims to guide people and organizations towards living sustainably. We've learned about the Agenda 2030. So we've learned about the SDGs, how important they are, how universal the SDGs are, and we decided to use them as our guide and guide us through how we can help other people and other companies living more sustainably. Based on the technology that we built on the platform, we decided to develop an app. The app uses gamification techniques to encourage people into living sustainably, into taking action, and also very important is measure the impact, because if you can measure the impact, then you can also improve and do better once you know what your impact is. A few back and forth and a few lucky phone calls with the United Nations, the Secretariat at the UN, so to who manages the entire global communications, decided to adopt our app and to officially invite us to support the ActNow campaign. The ActNow campaign is the campaign for individual action on climate change and sustainability. So we had a similar mission. We wanted to educate and engage people onto these topics, and we decided to do this together. So we rebranded our AWorld app to AWorld in support of ActNow. AWorld UN was so excited about this platform that we were building and the app that we were building that decided to list us on their homepage and list us on the Sustainable Development website, which is where all the SDGs are listed. So strong, very strong commitment, amazing news for us. We are just a startup from Torino, people just like you, and imagine how big of a news was to making a partnership with who makes the guidelines of sustainability. From this, we moved ahead. We went into study, and based on what we told you earlier, why people weren't taking sustainable steps, we decided to build a methodology that could transform people, that could create shared value and create a culture of sustainability, as I mentioned before, and that is made of 3 phases. The first is the awareness side. So I need to create awareness with you. I need to tell you that there's a problem, so we can then act on it together. And the acting part, so the engagement part, is our second part of our methodology, where we take action together and we create a community. And the third part is measuring the impact of our actions, which I've just told you a few times how important it is to measure it and to visualize it. So we went, we spent the last 6 months in creating content. What is the structure of the content? We decided to create daily tips. So everyone on the app gets a daily tip across the entire platform. We've created journeys. So we decided to go deeper and to create some content that talks about a specific topic. It could be water, it could be transportation, it could be food, it could be the SDGs, or as you see here, what is sustainability? We need to talk about, the ABC. What are the 3 pillars, and how could we? What are the problems, and how we can act on it together? Of course, we use gamification techniques to glue everything together. So we decided to launch quizzes at the end of every episode, and to launch challenges, which you're going to see in a second. Second part of the methodology is engagement. So this is really the engine of what we built, and this is where I would like to ask to all of you if you have any suggestions on how we can improve this, what you would like to see as a action, what we can suggest to other people. Since what we developed, and also in a kind of a lucky way, we decided to measure the savings of each action instead of measuring the carbon emission. And this has a very big component, since we've noticed that apps or other platforms that measure your carbon footprint sometimes make you feel guilty. Just like the app for for a diet, for an example. On the third day that I'm logging my calories that I ate, when I go back, I kind of feel guilty of what I ate. And we're feeling that by measuring the carbon footprint, I'm kind of pushing you away because I'm showing you how bad you are. And in this case, we decided to go with some very simple habits and showing you how much you will be saving instead. So take a shorter shower, as I mentioned before, you would save almost 50 liters if you take a 5-minute shower instead of a 10-minute shower, 1,000 liters of water if you're eating a plant-based meal. And if you plug your appliances overnight, you save up to 3.5 kilowatt hours, which also is the equivalent of 1.5 kilos of CO2. And this was kind of actually a lucky and a winning strategy where people really love this. We've registered 2 million actions over the last 6 months, and people went crazy. So we're getting all kind of feedback on how we can improve this, what they want to see, and this is what I would like to ask to you and engage with you. Second is we decided to launch challenges, and challenges are usually sponsored by a partner. So we have partners. In this case, Donna Moderna is just like a ladies' magazine, just like Elle, like more internationally. And they decided to challenge their entire audience and our audience into saving 50 tons of CO2 by doing these actions within a month time. So we decided to also increase engagement and launch challenges. So every month you get engaged with challenges which are sponsored by multiple partners. And we saw this very successful, since the numbers that we just recently got from this challenge were that we've saved 250 tons of CO2 instead of only 50 tons. So it's a great way of creating a community. You have people that have similar values taking action towards the same goal. Even better, a partner most of the time sponsors a sustainable donation. So in this case, Donna Moderna decided to donate to Milan 1 million bees. It's the equivalent of 17 hives, and to restore the biodiversity of the city. So in the other workshop room, there's Andrea Pesce from Zero CO2, and we are partners together. So other companies decide to plant trees by doing this challenge. So it's a great way of collaborating together for a goal. All of this, what I just told you, has an impact. So all of these actions are listed then on your profile. So you can see at what level you are. You have your own CO2 savings, the amount of actions, the water savings. But then we also go into a team area, as we did with you guys. And if you look on the app, on the challenge on the community page, there will be Milano IS 2021, and you can access this team, as this team is dedicated for you. So any action that you will take will be registered and will be attributed to the team too. And this is a great way of participating with multiple people, showing that there's also multiple people taking care of our planet. As you saw, this is what we created. The app is really colored and it's really emphatic, trying to talk about these topics. And I'm just going to give you some notions about what we offer to companies to show you what we built and how we're helping organizations or institutions trying to impact a larger number of people. And usually these collaborations are also accelerators for us, since we can reach out to more people. What we built, we understood, it's useful for people and planet. Who is using this? So organizations and companies are using this on the corporate social responsibility side, since engaging stakeholders it became very important. Education side, we know the importance of educating people, ourselves and people around us. Measuring impact, we're working on team building, of course, in creating a community of like-minded people. How we do this is with all the features that I showed you earlier. So the gamification techniques, all the content, the habits that I'll be asking you feedback on in the next few minutes, and the challenges, of course. For who this is, we've noticed that sustainability is needed across society. So we need to impact younger generations, but also older generations. We need to impact employees of a company, but we need to also what we need to say is that stakeholders of any organizations are not only who's part of the organizations, but are, to give an example of a company, employees are stakeholders, but also clients, also suppliers are becoming stakeholders. And we're looking at a company as not as the internal organizations, but also the people that are around that company and that rotate around that company. So we're seeing organizations use this on clients, on suppliers, and we've seen companies or organizations use this on students, since we know that younger generations are the change and will be our future. This is really important, since we've our collaboration with you started because we all felt the need to work on similar values and create culture of sustainability across all of us. What we also help doing is integrating the SDGs into the organization strategy. So we've know how the Sustainable Development Goals are important. We know how they are integrated between of each of them. So they're not only single goals, but each goal is connected to other goals. We need to create shared value to communicate across all the stakeholders. That's extremely important these days, since we're seeing that companies are now trying to align on the value base. So we will mostly be working for an organization that is aligned for our values. Otherwise, we won't be working there. And this is something I know for sure. And then, of course, measuring the impact, because it's important. If we can measure it, we can increase it, and we can also get really good insights on what's happening, on what are the most effective topics that we talk about of all of the SDGs, and where we can improve also ourselves. A little technical information here is how we collaborate with teams. And we've started with this solution, which saw companies using our point system as a gamification system to impact their clients. But then we saw an opportunity in creating and impacting people by creating teams inside the app, as we just did for you. And just to give you an example of what we can do inside a team, and what we're thinking of creating in the next few months, are a place to learn, a place to engage, and a place to share ideas with people that we live with, we work with, or are just our friends. So we decided to create further deepness into the app. We decided to create an educational platform that goes across and educates across all of the SDGs. We decided to allocate and create quizzes, add more quizzes to the strategy. We decided to launch a leaderboard for competition, since a lot of people love to compete and gain more points. Of course, we can then launch multiple challenges inside the team. So that's really important. The team aggregates all of your impact. So you have at the bottom here, you'll see what is the team impact and how many actions you've taken altogether. We can then get information and ask surveys. It's, our opinion is important. We are all stakeholders of the organization, so it's important that the organization knows what our feelings are and what we think about specific topics. Then we launch something which is called a growth board, or as a discussion board that I'm going to show to you in a second. So what we listed inside the team is some educational content. Educational content, just like at school. And sorry if you, I don't want to get you bored over this, but we've listed additional content that where you can go and learn about sustainability topics. You need to pass this content, so get 60 points over 100 in order to move to the next journey. And then you can just follow the path, learn, evaluate yourself, and also engage with other people inside a team. All the topics that we've listed. This is what we're building so far. So it's we're building content that goes around and talks about all of the SDGs. We talk about the SDGs in a very simple way. We think that the topic is more important to discover. So we have multiple episodes that we talk about. Let's give you an example about mobility, unconscious biases, why it's important to in our lives, how we can relate to them, how we can improve our lives on them. And then we move ahead in tagging and mapping all of the SDGs on each of these topics. So you'll see here how they are connected to each other, and how important it is to know which SDG we're talking about, because we need to map it out and understand how, what is in which direction we're going as we're using the SDGs as a map as a guide. What we've been thinking of launching too inside this, and I just told you this before, is we have leaderboards, so you'll be able to engage with others, see what level you are, how many points you gained, who is the smartest inside the team. And we're also launching growth questions soon. These will be coming in the next few months. And this is a way of engaging people into a debate, a constructive debate. We want to try to mine that bias, to raise that question in your head. And to just give you an example of what a question could be is, a question could be, but at the end of the day, like the voice assistant like Siri, or the car that parks itself, or the kitchen robot that helps us cook, is it making us tech friendly, or are we just becoming lazy? And this is a way for us that you'll see in the future in why we want to get your thoughts. Your opinion is really important. We want you to start a debate and also exchanging your thoughts with other people inside the team. This you will see this in the future. You'll see this come, and it's something that we'll be releasing in the next few months. As I mentioned, is all our actions are important. We will then try to measure what happened inside the team at the qualitative level, and try to understand what your opinions are, what you prefer, how can we do better, and what is the goal of the organization, where is the low-hanging fruit, where are we really rocking it, and maybe then include in the future months in the team additional content. And the second part, I don't want to get you too bored on this, but this we've noticed that companies want to use sustainability on their clients too. So you can there's a system built in, which is a platform for reward for rewards. So you can extract the loyalty and reward system, which aggregates points and give points for specific actions. You can extract from this all of the content from the platform. You get all the levels, all the gamification systems, and then you can add it to an external party platform, for an example. And we see a case study where people now want to engage their employees, their customers. They want to engage with their customers, educate their customers too. And with our platform, this company, which is called Greenpeas, a shopping mall of sustainable products, they can also come use our content to impact their clients, give them points for going through content, for purchases if they want, for anything that happens in the app. So we see external platforms using our system for rewarding their clients in third-party apps or websites, and we see this also with a bank that we're working with. We've just launched something with a North Italian utility where you'll be able to get AWorld points and more discounts if you use electricity for recharging your car. And our goal is to then start rewarding you for actions that also happen outside the app, and not only for what's happening inside the app. Just a few numbers. We launched the platform in the app on the 23rd of September with the United Nations General Assembly, so UNGA. We've had a very successful launch. We have 50,000 people registered right now. We have celebrities being part of this. Very lucky for being a very small startup as we are. We've reached 2 million actions in the first 6 or 7 months. We have 15,000 actions per day on average since March. We see people really loving the actions, and this is why I would love to ask you in a few minutes what your feelings about this and what you feel we're missing, so we can add this. We had challenges. We've been very lucky with press. We've planted more than 2,000 trees with the challenges. 1 million. That's a mistake. There's not hives. That is bees that we gave to Milan. And this is the metrics that we have. This is how much together we save. So it's more than 220 million liters of water, more than 1 million kilos of CO2, and so on. To give you a little bit more context on how what's happening also in the business side, we found out, and what we've learned is sustainability became urgent before being an important matter. We're seeing a rush in companies talking about sustainability. We see companies embrace this change from the inside, really believing into it. We see companies that are starting right now and starting to communicate, since they have to be part of this. Otherwise, there's a sense of that they will become obsolete. The winning model for a company, what we suggest is always the triple bottom line. Companies, at least some of them that I mentioned before, have always been focused on profit at all costs. While what we're seeing in a change in values and a changing methodology in doing business is the 3 Ps. So companies are starting to reinvest in people and focusing on planet on top of trying to make profit. And this is at the base of sustainability, because the impact of a company is now valued on the connection of these 3 aspects, keeping in mind that people and planet are fundamental parts of a company too. Of course, there cannot be a change that doesn't align with shared values. So that's why awareness is so important, and the vision of a company is key and the stakeholders here are becoming a fundamental part of the companies I mentioned before, where the goal and the richness that we need to create is always shared well-being, and this is always must be a goal for a company, and not always, as we mentioned before, profit, profit, profit. This will be the biggest change that humanity will have to face ever. I mean, there is no going back. As I mentioned earlier, we need to take action together. It's a big challenge that we're all going through together, and it will be, and it stands, and it's up to us if we're gonna change this or not. It's not really about saving our planet. It's really about saving our species. This planet has been here for millions of years, and it can go ahead without us. It's really by seeing the long-term change and protecting our biodiversity in order that we can live and have a future on this planet. A few other cute things that you can take from my journey, or our journey of what we did here. As I mentioned, we are just normal people from Turin. We're not that special. We are just we've just poured our lives into this project. Is aim high. Go and meet people first. Connect with people. Talk with people. Grow your connections, because you'll have amazing people that will come and help you without even you asking for any help. Aim high. Since such a small startup, we've managed to work with United Nations and to bring this message together across the world. And the Italians will know how difficult it is to get even your mayor in the city is unreachable sometimes. So don't be scared of shooting high and aiming really high. Involve as many people as possible. What we built is the first really part of the project. It will always become better. We're releasing new features, but it wouldn't be possible if we hadn't amazing, great other people being part of our mission. And this is always going back to our values, since people that are aligned with our values really opened their doors and come and helped us, not really asking for much. And so don't be afraid. Talk with many people as possible, and you'll find that people know more about you. Anybody will know more about you on specific things. So don't be afraid of doing mistakes. Be humble. Learn as much as you can. You're in an important part of your life right now where you're allowed to make mistakes, as long as you learn from them. And then the answer of what you're trying to do will come. It took us 2 years to get to this point. We left our office sometimes without knowing what we were doing. We just knew we had this idea. I can guarantee that we've been lost for multiple months, and slowly the idea came. Talking to people, throwing ideas out there, putting all our efforts into this project. We only understood what we were really doing a few months ago, to be honest, but now we know exactly how to do it, and it took more than 2 years. So don't be afraid. If it feels like it's right, pursue it and go for it. Finally, this is our Christmas phone call with United Nations. Here you have Martina Donlon and Martin Saman at Global Communication. You'll see here that this is our amazing team that was part of this project and helped us build this and get to here. And sorry if I took a lot of time, but I hope you didn't get too bored. You didn't fall asleep. But now is your turn to to give me some feedback. Ask any questions that you feel like, and don't be shy. We're here to having a conversation. And I poured everything I had out also some personal thoughts too. So speak up. Just don't worry about it, and let's have a friendly conversation. I see Akon.
Yes, thank you. So my name is Ariel. To like introduce myself, if you can see my name. So the one thing, first of all, thank you so much. This presentation was very inspiring for me, not in just the climate aspect, but also in an aspect that you are really young, as I can see, and you are already doing something very amazing and something that has the potential to actually really make an impact in the world. And my very first question, kind of to break the ice, would be, what would you suggest to all of the people in this call that have ideas, that have a vision, but maybe some kind of fear is holding them back? Maybe they are not completely sure in their idea. What would you say to them to encourage them to go forward and change the world in their own way?
Okay, Ariel, great questions. My suggestion is start talking about this with as many people as you can, not fearing that you might be wrong on some. If it feels right, talk as many people as you can. You guys are young. You still don't know, but part of your connections right now might be your connections in the future, and you might find partners for projects like this in the next few years. So schools, for an example, are a great place to network, of course. Talk about your idea with as many people as you can. You'll get, and don't be shy. Don't be shy. Try to not be shy. You'll get great feedback, and just involve as many people as you can. It only happens. You won't make it by yourself from your room, unfortunately. I see here in Focal we have Sara Fornaziero, and we've reached out naturally, and we just became friends. And I think because we are aligned with values, and you'll see that people will come and just try to help you without asking you anything back. And it's really important, because you just see people that have a similar vision, will love what you will do, and then they will be part of the project. So this is a network. I mean, unfortunately, we are online right now, but we have a LinkedIn is one of the best places you can be right now. I mean, it all rotates around LinkedIn. So don't be afraid. Send emails. People don't respond. Next, go for another email. Go for it. Go for it. I've received a lot of no's. A lot of no's. Don't feel like it. A lot of no's. I don't like what you're doing. So don't be afraid. Filippo, if you still have a question.
Yes. Quickly, I want to understand if you had an opinion about making sustainability trendy and fashionable, and something that really tries to engage people on social networks. Because what we see now, it's a lot of like trends regarding I don't know, people posting a picture of an outfit or something like that. While we always have seen that when things get trendy on social media or become viral, the impact that they have on people is huge. So I wanted to understand if you have like an opinion about how to make sustainability trendy. I don't know if you know about like the work of Edward Bernays, the father of modern propaganda.
Yeah.
And basically, he was able to push some new routines and habits for a lot of people by changing quite how we see the world right now. So if it's possible to do that with sustainability, and what you think about it.
And by the way, you're all allowed to answer. This is not just me, but my opinion, Filippo, is that the trend is going that way. People. So let me give you an example. I don't think that many people our age will be going to school with a plastic bottle of water. I don't think that's not going to happen. I think that will become something unconscious. There you go. That's the right idea. That's the right thing. It's becoming something unconscious in our minds, right? And I feel like because it will be a new normal, people will tend. I think there will be a split at one point. People won't care about it, but there will be people that, and I see the majority of people will feel like it's cool to be sustainable, you know. And I think that unfortunately, you guys are the change. We couldn't make it. I mean, I'm 34. We didn't get it. You guys are the one that will change this. You guys are the one that have the right values. And in order to make it trendy, we need to talk about sustainability not like a something that I have to do, which is heavy on me. You know, something that I have to. You know, something difficult. We need to talk about sustainability like something easier. And I hope, and I'm seeing that it will become trendy with younger generations. So it is, let's be honest, it is a topic that is not as, is not fashion, is not as, excuse me, the word sexy as other topics. But I see this being, you know, the future, and we see 50% of the people being seeing this as trendy, and I think will be enough for now. We are the ones that need to talk about these topics and show how it could be cool, because we are the one that believe into this. I hope Filippo, that was enough for.
Yeah, it was super interesting, to be honest. I completely agree. It's always about making something more appealing, and you know, maybe there are some like repercussion about how we see sustainability. So, but like the ethical end, let's say, it's more important than the means we are gonna have to achieve that. So, if you're able really to push kind of an agenda, but not really an agenda, it's something that will just have a collective bigger good. So, I think it would be very, very interesting.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you. Magdalena?
Yes, hello, Alessandro. Thank you so much for your presentation and congratulations on everything. My question would be, what do you think is the best way to balance, because with becoming more sustainable and with purchasing more sustainable fashion, as you talked about, that might impact, you know, people in developing countries, now I'm talking very generally, that work in factories and that, you know, then lose their jobs. You know, this whole chain of how you, how the fashion industry looks like today. So what would you say, how should you as a consumer find this balance between, you know, buying sustainability and being good for the environment, but at the same time also benefiting the economy and helping people, you know, get a job and get out of poverty? Because that's a huge issue too.
It is. I mean, great question. It is complicated. It is very complicated. These worlds are so connected behind the scenes that we don't even know. Easy thing would be choose quality over quantity, but it's not as simple as that. By changing our habits, we'll change companies. We hope that companies will treat their employees better. I think that something not great to say, but follow the money. If we decide to buy products that are more in line with our values, companies are forced to change. And by doing so, they will have to change their entire supply chain. And hopefully, things will become more transparent. We need to demand these companies to be more transparent with what happens also behind the scenes. If we change, I think that these companies will have to change for the better. Sarah, do you want to add something here? No? Okay. Okay.
I just want to listen to questions of young people, because I'm on the old side of the public here, and I have to deal with companies, and I listen what they talk about when we talk about sustainability. And I can tell you it's a completely different world. So I'm really interested in listening to your questions, because you are the future and you are a challenge to come to all people like me and those who sit in companies, in boards, and make decisions. So thank you for all the questions you will raise.
Completely agree. Completely agree. Thank you, Magdalena. Lucas?
Whoops. Hello. Yeah, you got me a little bit off guard. I have a question, because earlier in the talk you said that the big companies make us feel guilty and force us to change. Is there a way to change or to force companies to change? And I would kind of like to answer the question a little bit, because one option would be to kind of boycott them to a certain degree with certain products or stuff. But boycotting needs some sort of coordination. Could that coordination come via your app over that? Maybe, because you have quite some outreach already, and you could kind of find that as a point of start for some coordination, for example.
It might be, Lucas. We would hope to be part of this coordination. It needs to start from the awareness side. I need to tell you, we need to have this conversation as we just had today. Once you know it, once you realize that a company will put the responsibility on you to go, hey, this is a plastic bottle, you should recycle, right? No, you should be responsible for also manufacturing that plastic bottle, and then I should be part of your chain of recycling. But boycotting, not buying that product anymore is the answer. And I always make this silly. I always have this silly idea, but if we all start wearing a red T-shirt tomorrow, in 5 months, our governments will start wearing. Companies will wear a red T-shirt. Governments will wear a red T-shirt. To me, it's strongly a movement that comes from the bottom, from us, even if the system is rigged against us. And we really need to have that courage in taking those actions. And now I see why there is big organizations of people trying to boycotting these big companies that have a single-use plastic, because it really doesn't make sense. And unfortunately, if you live your life by not knowing what's going on, we end up in this situation where you take petrol, you make a piece of plastic for your yogurt, and then it sits there for 200 years, and it doesn't go back into nature, because nature doesn't have waste. Nature is perfect as itself. So it's waste from an animal becomes another resource for another element. We are the one that produce waste, the real waste that doesn't belong to the environment we live in. So hopefully, Lucas, we will become the awareness side, and hopefully maybe the aggregator of people taking serious action. But I mean, you already had the point. Francesca?
Thank you very much. First, I just wanted to tell you that somebody asked a question in the chat, and then I also have a question by myself.
I can't read it, so if you maybe could, after your question, if you could read a question in the chat, that would be great.
Of course. So my question kind of relates. So like, if we start asking for more sustainable products, or asking for those products to be produced in a sustainable way, how do you think we can avoid greenwashing from those companies that we are asking?
Unfortunately, is being aware and getting the information about that company, what the company is really doing. We had a company approach us. There is a fast fashion companies that said, hey, we want to communicate sustainability to our clients. And I'm like, okay, great, but what are you doing in order to transform? These companies need to transform themselves. Greenwashing happens most likely when it's really talking about sustainability at the surface, but nothing really changing in a systematic way inside of the company. And we need to, unfortunately, you can't really, I understand that you don't want to go and dig so deep into a company and learning what that company is doing to buy a shirt, right? Maybe just willing to buy a shirt, but it's something that we have to be aware of. Is we have to gain as much as information. We have to understand where the company is heading to, and if they're doing the changes that they're talking about. It is difficult. It is difficult. I mean, we look at sustainability reports every day, and there are a lot of fluff, a lot of fluff, and they create some very big scenarios. And unfortunately, also for us, is difficult to understand who's really doing greenwashing or not. I would say learn about the company as much as you can. In a time that is very difficult, since everyone is talking about sustainability. So sustainability reports say a part of it. So that's what you should be looking at if you want to engage with a company. But that's my answer for now. You would never have a 100% precise answer, unfortunately. But be aware of where the company is going.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Francesca. Would you mind reading the question in the chat, since I cannot open it on my side?
Absolutely. So it's directly related to the app of AWorld, and it says, can group or community challenges be created by just a regular friend group? And if not, would you consider to include it in the app?
Yes. Thank you, Francesca. We at the bottom of the community page, there is a request your team button. You can request the creation of your team. We have a backlog of 500 teams, since we have to manually create all the teams. So there's a huge request. I will drop you my email is alex@aworld.org. If you would like to create one, email me. I'll get you that created in a couple of days. But yeah, this is definitely doable. Corinna?
Hello. Firstly, I would like to congratulate for the app. What I really like about it is that it's really approachable, and all the steps. I was afraid at the beginning because I thought it was, like the challenges were gonna be like too hard or too time consuming, but they are really simple, like really feasible for everyone. And I really understand that listening to what you said about not feeling guilty opening the app, but feeling like you did something. And I think that was really like a super interesting and smart thing to do with the app. And my question is, since you talked about the people kind of leading the leadership, or like the people influencing the leadership, my question is, for example, I work in a legal firm in Milan, and we have like different, like rules about like where you should like the trash and stuff, but many people don't respect them. And my question is, how much do you think the example, that like leading from example, means in these revolutions? Like how much weight does it have in the world, even if I really believe that people can change it, but like how much the leadership can influence it, especially because you mentioned celebrities using the app. So yeah, that was the question. Hope it's clear.
Yeah. So we're doing a lot of studies on psychology. Easy answer is be the change you wish to see. So you want to see people change, you should be the first one to take change. Absolutely. We are doing another study, which I have this in Italian, but we're studying also why people don't behave as they wish they would behave. So yes, of course, I'm a good person. Of course, I recycle plastic, and then I have to take that action, and maybe I'm not into taking that action. So maybe I go to the supermarket of course I understand that I shouldn't buy that product, and then it happens, and it happens, and I just buy it. You know, we are doing these studies. The first study that tells us that it is difficult to change people's mind. You need to, of course, talk about it as much as you can, and also make a comparison or help them visualize the impact. So if I show you that this bottle of plastic will stay inert for 200 years, and unless you recycle it, might be an option. I think that you should communicate to the leaders and let me reframe this, because it's kind of complicated. But you should, if people are not taking action from your side, you should be the first one to take action, of course, and then help them communicate to them why it's important to you. The future belongs to you, and these companies, as if they want to keep younger people work in their firms, it's not only about the money, it's about the values of the company. They will have to understand it. It won't be so easy. I see it with my parents. My dad will be the age of your boss for sure, and it's not easy. But you take action, they will see you take action. They will see you believe in it. You taking action. Hopefully, they will change. So, not such an easy answer, though. It takes time. It takes time. Corina,
Thank you.
So how about wasn't too discouraging? About
No, absolutely no.
Sarah?
Yes, I just to mention that you, on one side, you can boycott when you buy things. Alex, I don't know if you know that we can't see you anymore. Maybe you can only.
Really? My side?
Yes, we don't see you.
I can see you. I can see him.
Okay. So
see him.
I know him, so it's not a problem. No, the second part is you boycott when you buy or you choose the products or services you want to buy, but you also have a big choice to choose the employer you want to work for or with. So you, as talented young people, have a very, very strong power. You must consider.
Absolutely.
This is your vote.
Thank you. Yeah.
I don't want to work in such an environment. I prefer to go somewhere else, being paid less or being happier or whatever. But and believe me, companies are struggling to attract and retain talent. So maybe you don't see it because you're too young, but there's a lot of worries on the other side.
Absolutely, 100%, Sarah. Thank you for that. I mean, it goes by the values. You need to work for who has the same values that you have.
That only works if you can afford to choose. If you have no chance, if you have to choose between work and no work is not an option, it's quite a luxury to be able to choose your work. What would work though is if you come into a place where you see there's not much action taken, and then you start to transform it slowly from within, and you kind of, as you work your way up into company, kind of can integrate new mindsets into that company, for example.
Absolutely, taking responsibility on your own and waving this into the companies, into the organization. Gangster. That's being a pro. Thank you, Lucas. Darius?
Thank you very much for your presentation. I find it really interesting, your app, that it has like this aspect of gamification and also this aspect of like measuring your impact. One question that I have is, like, with all the data you collect about like the individual behavior, do you make these data accessible like to the public, like especially as you already have like 50,000 registered users? And do you also make them like public or like accessible to the companies that sponsor, for instance, like the challenges or something like that?
No, so data stays private inside the organization. It's only used to make the platform better and more tailor-made. We are at the very beginning, so we want to create a personal path for you based on what your preferences are. We will never sell data. We have some bigger projects with the EU and getting European funds in order to use some of our data to improve sustainability habits and people behavior. So that will be the only case that we will be using data that we have from the 50,000 people in order to advance technology, advance what is the path of each person, because we are not all not similar. You might like oceans, I might like something more on the social side, equality or social topics. So for now, the app is very standard. It needs to be more tailor-made, and we're going to use this data in order to guide you as a single. Right now, there is one path for all of the people that register. Thank you for your question. Ariel?
Hi, sorry for like raising my hand again. I don't know if I'm overwhelming, but I wanted to share a fun fact with the call. You as experts already know this, but the rest of the call might not. And I recently found out that not all plastics that are recyclable and not all materials that are recyclable in the same way. Some can be recycled only once and then have to be thrown away, and some for example, a type of plastic can only be recycled to be that type of plastic. So, for example, some bottles can only be recycled to again be bottles, if you understand me. And for example, plastic food containers that we often see in supermarkets can't be recycled at all. Most of them can't be recycled at all. So the problem that I see this as a huge problem. The problem that I see here is that companies often say that they use recyclable materials, and they do. They just don't often offer, so to speak, full disclosure to the customer on how exactly materials can be recycled. And can your app be a part of the solution to this problem? Thank you.
Well, thank you, Ariel. So there is a company in Italy, a similar app that does this, which is called Junker. You can scan a product and it will tell you where to recycle it. It doesn't tell you, though, how many times that product will be recycled itself. There are some, toothbrush, toothpaste tube cannot recycle, for an example. Bottles of water, of glass, can be recycled multiple times. Technology is also moving very fast, and up now, if I'm not mistaken, we can recycle only 30% of the plastic that we throw away. The other can be burned for energy. So it is something that we're thinking of, also making a partnership with this other app in order to inform first how you recycle at home, because it's very important. Not, I might throw away glass here in my village, in my city, but you might throw glass in another area of recycling. Is not always the same. These companies act in different ways in different places. But I think that is so deep that it will take another few months to guide you into how many times that plastic could be recycled. We have some information on the app on how to recycle that exact material, but we will have to go deeper. It's a great idea, and I'll write this down since I hear it's important to show people also how many times you can recycle that component of that plastic.
Thank you. I'm actually really glad I contributed to something I honestly find cool. So thank you.
Thank you, Ariel. Francesca?
Hi, thank you. This is my last question, I promise.
No worries.
I just wanted to ask if you're planning to implement some of the more difficult to, let's say, present to the general public SDGs. I'm thinking, for example, global health, but that's just because of personal interest in your app and in your work, because I think it would be super cool, but I don't know if that's feasible. And thank you very much, by the way. I really enjoyed the app.
Thank you, Francesca. Yes, in what you see right now is part of the content. We'll be releasing content that is not only climate related, although we will we'll create content and share content from a more holistic point of view that touches all of the SDGs. So yes, for sure. We are collaborating with a professor called Ilaria Capua for circular health, for example. She will create the content for us on health.
Oh, great.
Yes. So, we know what we know. We are, we're not professionals in this area. We're just people that put our heart into this. We will work with professors and people that speak about this every day, and they will help us create the content. Just like, for example, seas and oceans, we'll work with Maria Sole Bianco, which is a biologist, ocean biologist on this. So we will have help from other people touching all of the SDGs. Thank you, Francesca.
Thank you, actually. And I mean, I love Ilaria Capua, so I'm really happy that you that you mentioned her name. That's good.
Marika? Is that if I spell that, if I pronounce it?
Hello, it's Marichka, but it's okay.
Hey, Marichka.
Yeah, it's just since we are always almost wrapping up and we have only a few moments, I was wondering if other people could turn on their cameras for just a second so we can take a pretty picture in parentheses / screenshot of the people who actually are on the event. It will take just a second. So
I'm in my bed. I'm so sorry.
Wait, okay. So, okay, great. Smile for the camera. Non-existent. Okay, one last time. Nice. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, if anybody else has any feedback, they're like, I mean, you can also feel free to send me an email anytime. I know that we went over the buffer time. If there's no other questions, go and take a few minutes off. So if this was a long workshop, if you had to listen to me the whole time, but I hope you take back something from this today, and feel free to reach out at any time. Okay.
So much, Alessandro, and I would invite everyone else to join back to the general core of Sustainability Fair, so we can have a little bit of debate and decompression time, let's say. See you in the general channel, okay?
Okay. Thank you, all of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.